What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I am joined by Degenerate Jay. And Jay, in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit of a news story. This happened yesterday. Hopefully, you guys are seeing this kind of the day after this story kind of broke, in which Cyberpunk, or CD Projekt Red, announced Cyberpunk has sold over 13 million copies as of December 20th, including refunds. So I'm going to go through the IGN story. We'll break it down. We'll talk about what we feel of how CD Projekt Red is basically spinning this. But before I get too far in, as always, make sure you guys are subscribed here. Hit the bell icon. You can check the description below for all of my other social media stuff. I'm all over the place, probably in too many places. Jay's stuff as well. He has a main channel and a Let's Play channel. He does a phenomenal job. He just talked about Cyberpunk a few days ago, depending on which day you guys are watching this video. I'll leave both of his channels in the description, as well as a pinned comment. Would be awesome to have you guys supporting either of us in any place that you guys feel that you want to. Jay, thank you so much for being on this video with me.
Hey man, thanks for having me. I look forward to this. Cyberpunk videos are a little dangerous for you, so I don't know if I'm being dragged down with the ship here or what's going on.
Yes, I live on the edge. So this has gotten me in trouble before, my opinions on Cyberpunk, but it's okay. I think everybody, we'll go through the story and we'll see where it takes us. So this comes from IGN. CD Projekt Red has confirmed that it has sold over 13 million copies of Cyberpunk 2077 as of December 20th, which was this past Sunday, even with most refund requests factored in. Announced by CD Projekt Red, the number included all retail and digital sales across all hardware platforms and has accounted for all refunds submitted by both brick-and-mortar stores and digital storefronts, except for those submitted directly to CD Projekt Red. So that could be a substantial number. Honestly, I don't think it would be that substantial considering, what they talked about in this report. The figure represents the estimated volume of retail sales across all hardware platforms, factoring in returns submitted by retail clients in brick-and-mortar stores as well as digital storefronts, i.e. the sell-through figure, less all refund requests emailed directly to the company by the publication date of it. So that's CD Projekt Red's basically their quotation. This is the big part, they chose to disclose this information in this way due to the potential impact on investment-related decisions. So that's the story. You're probably seeing it going around the internet. If you want to applaud them, you can applaud them. Look, we've talked about this before. The people working on this game do deserve, I think, some applause in some certain ways. They don't deserve to be punished from this. I truly, truly hope they do get those bonuses that, as of like 2 weeks ago, was promised to them. So I really hope everything works out for them. But Jay, you made a good point going into this video when I kind of pitched this to you, and you said like the way they said it. Now, it was to investors, or the point was to calm people down. So it was done on purpose. But the way they're doing it is like, like we're all fine. We're all good and fine here. When really, the public kind of, I feel like, and you said this too, the public feels like they probably want to see them be hurt a little bit.
It's a hard thing to talk about too, because, and I've said this in the past, like you said, the people who made the game, the, programmers, the developers themselves, not their bosses, not the management of CD Projekt Red, not the investors, but the people who made this, they deserve the sales. They did a really good job with the constraints they had with feature creep. And what I mean by that is it kept being like, hey, let's add this feature. Let's add this. Let's add this. What if you can do this? Well, let's add to the scope of this. And it just kept expanding too much from the top down in terms of this game. However, the game is playable. It has a lot of problems. Yes, absolutely. Far less on PC, but it does. And it's probably a feat of nature that we were even able to get it in the state it's in. Now, the state it's in is pretty pathetic on like base PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but it is a game that runs. Now, I guess one thing that sucks is that you can't punish one without the other, right? The investors that pushed for this game to be released so quickly, and I will say too, 8 years. They had 8 years to make this. So I'm not trying to say that 8 years is not enough time, but for a game that keeps expanding over and over again, whether it was enough time or not, the game wasn't done. So that's really irrelevant. It doesn't matter that they had 8 years, the game was incomplete. And apparently CD Projekt Red developers had told management that. We saw the other day that a lot of them had actually confronted management over this and said, this was hypocritical the way you handled this. You made us work like 80-hour work weeks all these times. And yet this game is about corporations exploiting workers and all this stuff. Like, you're hypocrites. And also, we told you it wasn't done, and you released it anyway and ignored us, and this is what you get. And they did confront them on this stuff. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those people end up losing their jobs, because it turns out that when you speak the truth in any industry, you tend to get canned. But they did speak up for themselves against management. Management didn't care. They just did what they wanted. And the investors that pushed for this release, and I would say even the fans who pushed this release when they knew it probably wasn't done too, and the managers, for it's hard to say, like, if you wanted this game to come out right now and you bought it, you deserved it to be bad. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying people who actively knew that this probably wasn't done, or knew just straight up it wasn't, and now they're upset that it wasn't done. Those are the people I don't feel sorry for, whether they were the gamers that were sending like actual death threats over the delays and they were just pissed about it, or it was the management who knew it wasn't done, or the investors who didn't care because they just wanted their paycheck. Those people I don't feel sorry for. And if you ended up with a bad product because of that, no matter what side of that you were on, I don't feel bad for you. But the people who really tried and put their heart and soul into this and just got punished for it, and the fans who just eagerly waited and they were like, hey, I just want this game to come out the best it can possibly be. I'm super excited. Take your time. I'm hyped for it. I want to see it soon, but I would rather see it done than see it messed up. Those people don't deserve to be punished for it financially or with a bad product on the consumer end of it. The problem is that there were so many people that just pushed that it's like, this is what you get. If you release something not done just to get it out the door for the Christmas season or whatever, we've seen this 100 times. It's always what you get, and they never learn their lesson. And it seems like we made 13 million units anyway is kind of like a big FU to pretty much everybody in a way to me, where it's like, well, you're saying that our launch was bad, but we made 13 million units, so suck it. Yeah. And it's like, is that really the way to handle this? Like, to try and inflate your stock off of it? Because in my opinion, that's what it is like, piss off. Our stock should be worth more than it is. We didn't do anything wrong.
Right. And and the thing we've talked about, and I talked about this, I actually remember, I've made so many Cyberpunk videos on both the channels at this point, I forget which one I said it. But, when it comes to what could have happened, like Jay said, the game should have been delayed even 2 months. 2 months. End of February, you delay it. We know by their posts that they're doing the huge patch, January and February. Now, will they be under crunch to do it? Yeah. So if you didn't have them under crunch, maybe the final patch that would fix things, maybe the game would have been done by March. And if you delayed the game 2 to 3 months more, right, you would have been memed, you would have been laughed at, all that stuff, whatever. The game would have come out. It would have been fine. And by the way, the game underneath all these issues, kind of unanimously, is very good. Nobody really has that big of a problem with it. So the game would have been really great. The game wouldn't have had problems, and you would have sold the same amount as you did now. The biggest thing to me with, and I agree with Jay, like the way they word it is kind of like, to investors, it's like, hey, you guys are pulling out, like, please stop. Like, look, we royally messed up, but look, people are still buying. Like, people still care. Like, look at how many millions of copies we sold. But the thing that hopefully they've looked in the mirror and said is, oh, shoot, we would have done this number no matter when it came out. We would have done this number in March if we delayed again. You think the people that have been waiting 7-8 years for this game, after 5 delays or however many delays it were, was going to finally jump off ship over this newest delay, say they actually delayed it? There's no way. They all still would have bought it, and you wouldn't have had to account for refunds. Instead of this report being 13 million, and who knows, maybe it's 2 million units were sold or were returned. So maybe they sold 15. They wouldn't have had to put that. So, they do this report in March, and they gloat and go ahead, gloat to your investors and say, look at how many millions we sold. And you don't have to have that refund part put in there at all. It's messed up. It's something that I really do hope that these higher-ups have learned. And, CD Projekt Red, man, it's a messed up situation, because this was like that golden child. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen the meme with, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan, like, you were the chosen one. They were the ones that were supposed to kind of rise above this. I even defended them when it came to crunch stuff, because I have a pretty controversial opinion on the crunch stuff, especially in the gaming industry, which we won't talk about because I know I'm already disliked enough. But, I defended them. I've defended them in the past, and a lot of people have defended them, because they've kind of earned it. They really have. But now, again, like the people on the ground level, they've done nothing wrong. It's the people above them. And, good for them. for selling this. The game buried underneath all this stuff does deserve it. These people that made this game, even though it was, filled with issues, the game is good. The game sold a lot. They should be getting all their bonuses. They should be applauded for what they did. And then you should go, we should be talking about the things that were done wrong by the people who did them wrong, right? There's more time. There's time to fix these things. That's the other thing, too, is I get the frustration. I hate it, too. I really do. But hopefully these patches fix it. Hopefully, we can talk about DLC and multiplayer and stuff like that, but I guess the bigger thing is, like, The Witcher 3's remaster, or remake, or no, it's a remaster. The Witcher 3's remaster needs to be the best thing they've ever made. Witcher 4, when they go on to make that next, that needs to be the greatest game of all time with 0 bugs. And that's a tough thing to live up to. And they've kind of done that now. They didn't do it to themselves. The higher-ups did it to the people working. So, Jay, any final thoughts about this whole situation?
I just think it's it's funny in a sad way that this is where we're at. They did really, I think, throw this out, like you said, to keep investors. To me, it comes off as a little bit of like we know this is going to get out. Like all these investor calls and investor statements and everything, they all get out to the public, so they know it will. They don't need to make a public announcement for the investor stuff to get out. It's kind of like, well, despite not doing the best, we still made 13 million units, so shut up. I don't, even though they didn't directly say that, that's what it comes off to me as. And I don't really know if this is how you handle it. I really think that they should kind of sit with their failure for a little bit. I think the sad thing is that no matter what, that failure, if it affects them monetarily enough, it will be passed down. The people at the top really never accept responsibility for failure. That's more of a Japanese company thing in video games, where they will actually be like, almost too much. It'll be like, hey, you funded this failed program, or you headed this failed program, you're a disgrace to our company, in a way, or it's like dishonorable. A lot of times those people will retire kind of out of shame, because they'll be like, I don't want to lead this company astray. In the US and Europe, it seems like they just double down on it. Like, well, we can't be wrong. It's like that Simpsons meme with the principal. It's like, I can't be wrong. It's everyone else. It's the kids who are wrong. That's kind of how this comes off as. And I guess at the end of the day, I just hope they don't pass this down the line to the people who have been worked to the bone. And despite any crunch, opinions, it's like these people are working, 80-hour weeks and stuff to get this out, and you're going to punish them. I think that's just completely unfair if that's where they take it. So It frustrates me. It's upsetting. I think as a industry, the gaming industry needs to learn this, release things when they're done, not for a season or not for a specific time. But this has been going on for, 20 years at least, and they haven't learned this lesson. I don't see why they would now.
Right. Yeah, it's this is the first time it's happened to them, so that is the hope that I kind of have, that maybe, first time's the charm for a situation like this. But generally, like you said, Anthem, Assassin's Creed Unity, going back several years, this has happened to countless companies, and sometimes they learn, most times they don't, so we'll have to see if CD Projekt Red actually is one of the good ones. So let us know, as always, in the comments below, guys. What do you think? How do you think this was supposed to be worded? Do you think they did it in more of like a cocky manner? Let us know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. As you know, all of my other social media stuff is in the description below if you ever want to check any of that stuff out. Jay's stuff will also be there, his main channel and his Let's Play channel, as well as a pinned comment. Like I said in the beginning, he's talked about Cyberpunk. He does amazing work over there. And he talks about a variety of content just like me. Jay, thank you so much for being on this video with me.
Hey, man, thanks for having me here and letting me vent about Cyberpunk. I appreciate it.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you all for the next video.